you're an advocate of female sports, right? Diba? Women's sports. You have a podcast in it. You also talk about it in your feature articles, right? For you, ano ba ang nadadala ng isang female, that perspective, in the sport, 'di ba? As athletes and even as journalists, 'di ba? Meron ba kayong panibagong perspective, 'di ba? That maybe I don't know like normalizes the narratives, 'di ba? Meron ba kayong ganun na edge, no, that more and more people need to hear about?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with the diversity, equity, and inclusion movement, like all over the world. So it's called
Mm.
DEI.
Mm.
So the thing with DEI is like it's a hot debate because like parang there are people who make actual quotas that we need a number of
Really?
women,
Wow.
a number of African Americans, a number of Asian women in the workforce, no matter the qualifications and all that. So the quota system has been a problem, but then what I believe in, and because I have been in workplaces, number one Rappler
Mm-mm.
is a woman led organization, and then for and then like I come from a church that has a lot of women leaders also, but that and then I remember what my pastor would say, that the reason why diversity works for us, for the organization that I've been in, is because we have diversity for strength. So um like so that's the same with like sports, like just having female leaders, women leaders in
Yeah.
organizations can give like a perspective of um and representation then for the women in the
Sa bagay.
organizations.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
and it gives, and on the social perspective, because like even me, I would admit that honestly, like I grew up thinking that um when I was in grade school, it's just like, okay, I study hard, I work a bit, then I get married and be a mother. Parang on it, like when I was a kid, I would only think like that. But then it's just now that I'm actually living my adult
Yeah.
life. It's like wow, like opportunities are endless now for women, and
Yep.
it gives it
Buti na
inspires
lang.
us to,
Yeah.
yeah. So I feel grateful also that I'm in this time period na that women are actually, they're actually clamoring for women
Mm.
leadership, and we see the why behind
Yeah.
why women should be leaders, and it's not
Yeah.
out of like because we just want to show that we have a woman leader, like the quota thing, but it's actually for a strength reason.
Yeah. Do you think representation aside, no, parang um do you think female athletes tend to open up more to female journalists? May ganun ba? Do you feel that?
Yes, definitely, and it's because, uh, it's like, oh, there's like for women, it's really like emotional connection also.
Yeah,
So
empathy.
since
Yeah.
so I've been doing a lot of research about women's sports content, and
Yep.
like yung even the content, the consumption habits of a male fan, sports fan, and a female sports fan with
Really?
regards to
Wow.
women's sports stories. And
Mm.
yeah, so ganun talaga, like women would tend to want and they would want to find emotional connection to
Yeah.
another woman.
You know what, Di? Parang there's one part. Parang I read an article from you, and I really like this line where you said, parang we shouldn't romanticize really the struggle of female journalists trying to make it to the top there. We
Yeah.
must instead kind of hold these institutions accountable for the systemic kind of like red tape that they put around na no women can enter here or something like that. So parang there's such a nice way of thinking about it and very refreshing. No, ayun.
Yeah, because the problem is like na infantilize din kami. So parang
Mm.
binababy kami, which is not supposed to be happening in the workplace. We're all adults. We're all
Oo.
professionals also. So yun I think what Matt was saying is because for context, when the sports bubbles were happening, parang there were journalists talaga na it was an for example the PBA bubble, it was only men are allowed to be there
Mm.
kasi baka ma-rape, baka ano ang female sports journalist or or any female working in
May
sports
ganun
na
pala, no? Yeah.
yeah, there's that aspect na baka like kasi the basketball players haven't like seen their wives in a long time, that they might get tempted ganon. It's like, oh my gosh, like why even, diba? So ayun, like it's really the institution that needs to be accountable na
Yeah.
mali rin na they'll actually try to abuse us or harass us, diba?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Parang I
Well,
don't
yeah.
understand why that's the go-to, that's the go-to mentality na sexual agad or something, diba? Even like
Yeah.
Taylor Rooks
Mm-mm.
when she went to the NBA bubble, she also had a lot of this stigma looped into her just because she was associated with some of the big NBA players also. So parang wala lang. It's just very crude to kind of go to that immediately
Yeah.
when thinking about this instead of treating them as professionals as they should be. Ayun.
Mm-hmm.